giant wings that can cover the sky, razor-sharp teeth, and a fiery breath that can burn everything to ashes. Dragons, the symbol of fantasy. We can't imagine a fantasy world without dragons. But here's the question. There are tons of different creatures in fantasy, so why is the dragon the symbol of fantasy? And why are dragons always the villains and monsters? If they're so powerful, how come they are always slain by heroes? But this kind of story is getting kind of boring, right? Is it really impossible to make a fantasy story without dragons? Why did dragons become the symbol of fantasy and always villains too? So today, I'll tell you the secrets. There are two main reasons why dragons became the symbol of fantasy. First, dragons are mythical creatures that appear in cultures all over the world. Every country has its own legendary beasts, but dragons are unique because they show up almost everywhere. That's why they represent all fantasy creatures and have become a global symbol of fantasy. The second reason is the origin of fantasy itself. Most Western fantasy is inspired by ancient religions, myths, legends, and folktales. And dragons are everywhere in those stories. From Mesopotamian myths to Egyptian mythology, Norse legends, Greek myths, Slavic folklore, even the Bible, dragons or giant serpents appear again and again. Even when it's not technically a dragon, a massive serpent often plays the same role, so people usually consider them dragons anyway. So now you see why dragons are such central figures in fantasy. They've always been part of the stories that shaped it. Now here's the next question. Why are dragons almost always evil? That also comes from those ancient myths. In Mesopotamian mythology, a great dragon, Tiamat, is a villain. In Egyptian mythology, the evil serpent Apophis battles the sun god Ra. These myths gave people the idea that dragons and snakes are evil, and that idea spread across cultures. Greek mythology, Roman legends, Slavic folklore, and even the Bible were all influenced by that belief. That's why in Western tradition, dragons and snakes are usually seen as evil. Christianity is no different. In the book of Genesis, the serpent tricks Eve into eating the forbidden fruit. As punishment, God takes away its legs. And if you imagine a snake with legs, what do you get? A lizard? No, a dragon, of course. Because this is fantasy, remember? So in Christian tradition, snakes and dragons are often treated as the same thing, and both are considered evil. That's why dragons are usually seen as enemies in Christian stories too. The legend of St. George slaying the dragon is a famous example. And in the book of Revelation, the dragon is a symbol of the devil himself. So now it all makes sense, right? Western religion, myth, and folklore painted dragons as evil. That's why so many fantasy stories show them as villains or monsters. But wait, isn't something weird about that? Sure, dragons are evil in the stories, but they're insanely powerful. So how do heroes always manage to beat them? In the next episode, we'll dive into how powerful dragons really are, what kinds of abilities they have, and most importantly, how to defeat them. To be continued in the next story. Lamassu Fantasy, Slayer of Dragons.